What is the Day of the Dead? The Day of the Dead is a celebration that originated in Mexico, which is not celebrated in many other countries, which is now celebrated in many other countries, actually. It is a day to celebrate loved ones who have passed away.
When is it celebrated? So it's technically celebrated on November 1st and 2nd. The first is more towards children who have passed away. I and my family and a lot of people in Mexico refer to it as Dia De Los Angelitos, which is the Day of the Little Angels, and there's other names for it. And November 2nd, which is Dia De Los Muertos, and it's the one that's more typically celebrated and known worldwide.
What are the items that people put on the altar? We have an altar right here. As soon as you enter the chapel, it's behind, you can't see it. And there's also one in room 2, so if you have Spanish, hopefully you can add to it during class, or just admire it when you're in class.
The first thing is the cempasúchil flowers, which represent eternal life of the souls. They are put out to guide the spirits towards the altar. So if you guys have seen Coco or any other movies that represent and celebrate Dia De Los Muertos, you'll see how there's little flower petals all over the place and they lead them towards the altar.
You also put pictures of loved ones that you've lost on the altar, and candles, which, similarly to the flowers, light the way for the spirits to their altar.
Another thing is the calaveras, which there's different art forms for them, a lot of ceramics and different forms of art. And these are examples. You have the sugar skulls, you have, of course, the ceramics, there's little figurines, and they're a big part of the celebration as well.
You also put water on the altar to calm the thirst of the deceased. And you also put bread, which Maria will tell us about.
So if you see the bread, it kind of represents the body of the deceased. You can see here, there's a cross, which kind of represents the body, the arms and the legs, and there's a little circle on the top that's like the head, so that's what it represents.
You also put the food similarly to or different from the bread. It can be any food that the deceased loved to eat when they were around and alive, and that is to honor them and to kind of welcome them towards the altar because it's things that they liked in their lifetime.
Another thing you'll put is toys or other things that represent the person who has passed away. So there's some examples. You can also put little toys to decorate it, but yeah. Another thing that is used to celebrate is music and dance. They're a big part of the celebration. You have a lot of indigenous dances, a lot of the headpieces with the feathers, and the stuff they put on their legs with little bells to dance around. I always find that really cool. You don't see it as often in this area or much anymore, but that's a big part of it. And then you also have the typical mariachis and the baile folclórico.
There's also face painting and makeup, which usually resembles like a skeleton. Here are some photos of that, which are very detailed and very cool. And thank you for listening.
If anybody's interested in celebrating in the community, Palenque Arts at Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. we'll have a celebration with the community offering, una ofrenda a la comunidad, and folklore music, baile folclórica, danza, comida, food. I will be going, and if you're in any of my classes, it is extra credit to participate in a community event. That's tonight from 6 to 8 at Palenque Arts in Seaside. Muchas gracias. Feliz Dia de los Muertos.
Okay, it's time to take a couple more down. we can. We do have the rights. So I will go and grab 3 more. This is a Sondheim musical that no one would want to go see here. That's the truth. And then finally, this is a Rodgers and Hammerstein musical. This was a really big moment in musical theater history because it was an opportunity to talk about some pretty deep and dark themes in a musical, which was unheard of at that time. But it's all about spousal abuse, and so we're not going to do that. So that is Carousel, but there are some beautiful songs in Carousel which we actually sang at our Rodgers and Hammerstein event 2 years ago. There are some beautiful songs in this. But anyway, these are the 3 that we are not doing here at York.
We're meeting today from 12:15 to 1. It's required. If you are in choir, there are 3 of you who have a conflict. Please see me outside the chapel right after so we can coordinate an alternate meeting time. Thank you. 12:15 to 1, room 2, required. So if you've double booked yourself, unbook yourself from your other non-choir commitment. Thank you.
Good morning. So Sunday is our annual All About York open house admissions event, and I wanted to thank Ms. Thompson, Mr. Wilcox, who lead that event. They deserve a round of applause for all the work. All faculty and staff will be here for that event, and then some students will be helping out, so I want to thank you in advance for that. So today for work jobs, we want to make sure, just like at your home, when guests come, we want to make sure that the campus looks great. So I think it's 8th and 10th grade today and 9th grade tomorrow. Is that right, Mr. Zoljo? So make sure that we, do those work jobs as well as you can. And then tomorrow, by the end of the day, if teachers need any help with cleaning up their classrooms or getting things straightened up, please help them out so that we can make sure the campus looks fantastic for Sunday. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Speaking of making sure the campus looks nice, you may have noticed that we have a new ping pong table. And I purchased some new paddles. There's 4 of these paddles. The ones I purchased last week are already kind of destroyed. Those were cheap. I got the cheap ones. These are not so cheap. So let's just take care of it. And if you're a work jobber today over in Fenton Terrace, let's polish and shine that new ping pong table. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Now, let's get ready to give a warm welcome to our sophomore speech for today from Daniel.
forgotten weekends of the year. I wanted to do what I always did, stay in bed. However, my stomach disagreed. It wanted food. I was so hungry I thought I could hear my stomach speak to me. Daniel, I want food and I want it now. No resistance is futile. However, I disagreed with my stomach. It was too cold. It wasn't worth it, I thought. And not only that, but when my stomach was involved, it was never quick. The cold air around me made a wonderful argument to stay in bed. Staying in bed would guarantee I'd be spared from its icy wrath. Not only that, I found myself agreeing with the air around me. And that's what I wanted to do, was stay in bed. However, in the end, my stomach won, as it always did. I leapt from my bed, and the very moment I did, anything that wasn't covered by my clothes met the air's icy wrath. As I walked down the corridor into the kitchen,
You got it.
Each step felt like I was walking on eggshells rather than on a proper hard wood floor. The dead silence in the air around me only served to reinforce the eggshells. Once I made it to the kitchen, I knew what I wanted. A ham sandwich. But not just any ham sandwich, the best ham sandwich. One with 2 slices of ham, just the right amount of mayo and cheese that just barely stuck out of the side. However, today would be different. Not just any old ham sandwich would suffice. I thought, why not fry the ham and add an egg? I was starved and only the best would suffice. However, despite my words, I was terrified. I'd never cooked on my own before, and when I did, someone was usually there to watch me and make sure I didn't burn the house down. And as I went to go turn on the stove to complete my task, there were too many knobs. There were too many numbers on the knobs. What would fry the ham properly? What would cook the egg properly? What would cause the house to burn down and have us live out in a van for a year? All these thoughts and more ran through my head. I went to the kitchen. I went to the refrigerator, and my fear told me to turn back now. Just close the refrigerator and forget about it. However, my determination told me to continue. The lure of the sandwich was just too great. I very quickly found some sliced ham, some cheese, and some mayonnaise. I applied the mayonnaise to a bagel I found sitting on the countertop. No idea how it got there, but it was there. I found a pan and put it on the stove, and as the pan warmed up, I waited. Eventually, the pan started to hiss at me, demanding I lay some ham on it. I quickly complied and laid the ham on the pan. However, once I did, the ham started to hiss at me, telling me I was venturing into the unknown and I was alone. I very quickly went to go grab a spatula to silence the ham. Once I did, the ham, now silenced, decided to respond by letting out steam, which began to fill the kitchen, leaving a thin white haze across my vision. I refused to budge, and the ham, in a final desperate plea for me to give up, decided to throw a single drop of burning hot butter on my wrist. The sensation caused me to jolt back in pain and momentarily reconsider making the ham sandwich. My determination told me to continue. I shouldn't let a single piece of dead pig deter me. Within a few minutes, the ham was overcooked, and I decided that was that. I quickly threw the ham onto my sandwich, and the egg was far less fussy. It only needed to be coddled as not popular. And within a few more minutes, it was over. I had cooked the ham I cooked the ham sandwich. As I sat down at the breakfast table, I admired my work. The overcooked ham, the slight give of the cooked egg, and the slight, no, wait, I messed that up. The overcooked ham, the slight give of the egg, and the gooiness of the cheese made it delicious. And I had done it. I had cooked on my own for the first time. And I think we've all been in situations like that, where we've had a choice to wait around and let someone else do it for us, or to get up and do it ourselves. But sometimes, if you want the perfect ham sandwich, you have to get up and do it yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for that great speech. It really spoke to your resilience about how you made that ham sandwich.
All right, so that's all we have for break today. So next